1 second. Let me share my screen. Right. Right, back where we are. Hopefully this works. Yeah, so basically what we'll then talk about is what do we know? Yeah, I believe Bill, are you able to just put in who's in the meeting? Just to share that with Katie. Yeah.
Yes, that's fine. We can share after.
Perfect.
Do you need it now?
Yeah, it'd be good. Yeah, it'd be good if you could just put that in the chat for us. And yeah, Katie, if you have any other questions around that, just put them in. So yeah, we'll start off. Just wanted to check in everyone's able to make it. No worries. Yeah, what we'll do, if anybody hasn't been able to join today, what we'll do is record this. But also, if we need to have other sessions, if people have been struggling to join, we can always do that again as well. But yeah, I'll kick off now. But if there's any problems, just let me know. Just put them in the chat. Yeah, so basically what we'll do then is talk to you about the PSTN switch off, what it means, kind of what's happening and the key things you should be aware of. After that, then we'll walk you through some of the essential steps your school needs to take for your migration to prepare for this, and then why the council and what they're doing is really going to help and make that a lot easier. And finally, we'll show you the technology in action and everything, that bring it all to life essentially, and show you what that would look like for your school, and then open the floor to any questions. But as I said, if you have any questions throughout, just please put them in the chat. So a bit about us initially. So Connecting Wales is a Welsh government-backed framework, and essentially it was initially driven by Vale Glamorgan and Wrexham Council, and it was created for the Welsh public sector to give them easy, cost-effective access to telephony, contact centre and customer service solutions that were going to transform the customer services that we can deliver across Wales. It was initially launched during the 2019 pandemic, so back in 2019, sorry. And it was basically because it was a time where the need for flexible, resilient communication, as you know, was absolutely paramount. So we come about to be able to cater to the needs of the Welsh public sector and be able to provide the Welsh public sector the tools and technologies to be able to deliver the services that their citizens have come to expect. So following a competitive tender, 4net was selected to then deliver these services in partnership with the Welsh Government for the Welsh public sector. And we've been supporting a range of clients across Wales since then, and we're really proud to do so. So the Connecting Wales framework, we work with a range of Welsh public sector bodies, as I just said, from the likes of an Iron Bevan Health Board, all the way through to Transport for Wales, and about 14 or 15 of the councils in Wales as well. One of the key partnerships that we're really proud of is our partnership with Isle of Anglesey Council. So we've had a relationship with Isle of Anglesey for about 2 years now, I believe. And we essentially, in partnership with them, we've delivered their contact centre and telephony solutions for their council. So, for example, if you're having your bin collected or you're looking to get any other council services, it's us who's delivered that system, and it's us who is working with Isle of Anglesey to optimise the customer service and experience so they can deliver to the citizens of Isle of Anglesey. But beyond the council services, we've also delivered a telephony to a number of schools in Isle of Anglesey. I know that you probably aren't them schools, but in terms of what we're going to be talking about today, it's going to be centered around what we've already done and then how that could benefit you then moving forward. So that's a bit of an overview as to who we are and what we do. But now I really want to just take you through kind of why we're here today and why we're speaking to you with Isle of Anglesey. So a lot of you might already be aware, but this is all centered around the PSTN switch off. So for decades, traditional phone lines have relied on old copper lines called PSTN, or there's slightly newer ones called ISDN. But this technology is actually being phased out at the moment. So the new way forward is going to be digital voice or voice over internet protocol. So more modern phone systems use internet connections instead of the copper lines. And this change is essential, really, because the old system is aging, it's really costly to maintain, and it doesn't support the modern features that we've come to expect from digital technologies. So switching for you will essentially mean clearer calls, more functionality, and solutions that are going to be better fit for purpose moving forward. And in terms of the PSTN switch off, I thought it'd be worthwhile just going through some of the key dates that you really need to be aware of. So in 2023, there was a stop sell on the old style of phone lines, the PSTN, meaning you can't buy any new ones or make big changes to the existing ones. Then if we fast forward to 2027, the full switch off of PSTN lines is happening. So by that date, all the traditional phone lines will be turned off. So it's really critical that you've migrated to a digital solution before then. And I know you're all going to be in different starting points right now on your journey to this, but where we are in 2025, I can imagine you all have very busy lives, running schools, working within the schools. So 2027 actually isn't that far away. It's going to come around really quickly. So starting that process now is going to be absolutely critical, really, to just avoid any last minute rushes and disruption to your school services. Right, so I've talked around PSTN, when that's happening, and I thought it'd be worthwhile really just to talk around the steps that you need to take to be able to move from the old analog lines to a new upgraded system using voice over internet protocol. Now, I'm going to set the stage for this, and this is the way you would have had to do it before Isle of Anglesey are offering the services that they did. So essentially what you would need to do is, first of all, understand your current environment. So this really is where it would all begin. You need to understand you can't build a house on sand. You need to understand the foundations before you make any changes. So it's really important to take stock of your current setup, really. So what type of phone system are you using? Is it analog, ISDN? Have you already got some digital elements? How many lines are in use? Is it just for the office? What is the functionality that you're using it for? And how is your current phone system working in your school today? And then once you understand where you are and what you want, as you would with any other procurement cycle, you'll need to go out to find the best solution that fit for your school. So you want to start looking at a solution that fits your school's needs. You want something that's simple for office staff, simple for the school to use, and it's tailored really to the day-to-day life of you as a school community. So features like voicemail, absence lines, automated call routing, even safeguarding support, or something that's going to allow you to safeguard your children properly. You want these things to be coming as standard and not as expensive add-ons. And probably just things like, is the technology scalable? Will it grow with your school? If you or can you downsize it? Is it easy to make changes? So at this stage, really, what you want to do is really understand what is the right technology, and is it going to work for your school and how it operates, and can I find the right partner to be able to deliver that and help me through this process? And then lastly, once you've understood where you are, and you've engaged with the right partner, you then need to migrate in time for 2027. So the final step is migrating to the new system. Now, this doesn't need to be complex. You can reduce the risk of disruption by planning ahead, but you want to be trusting in a partner that can deliver this as seamlessly as possible and make this a fairly straightforward process. So you want to make sure that you do this in enough time so it gives you your staff enough time to train on the system, and you can lead out any problems and really understand how that's going to work for you before everything goes off in 2027. So in short, really, this is obviously quite a big process. the earlier you start these steps, the more control you have over making the right decision and making sure the transition is as easy as possible as you move from the PSTN lines to a new digital system. But I think the main thing that I really wanted to hammer home today was that you don't have to do this alone. So the council I think it's a brilliant initiative. We work across a range of councils across Wales, and not all of the councils are doing this. So it's brilliant what Isle of Anglesey are doing, and they basically offering to help you alongside us every step of the way. So the audit process, they'll support you with the audit and help you gather the data needed to understand your current estate. Us alongside the council can offer help around that on exactly what you need to understand so we can scope the solution properly. They've built a framework that makes procurement really fast. So you're going to have a cost-effective solution that's compliant, but they've already selected a trusted vendor. Like we've been working with Isle of Anglesey and across Wales for several years now. So they know that they can trust us to deliver a solution that you want, and we'll be able to support that as you move forward. So you don't need to evaluate tons of vendors and compare dozens of options. They've done that and picked a solution that's going to be fit for purpose. And then in terms of a migration, obviously that's a really big part in terms of planning. We'll manage the migration, meaning you don't need to worry about the technical side of things. It can all be handled step by step for you. So really, I think the main thing for me today, before I lead on to Alex, is in terms of the PSTN switch off, it might seem like a big move. It might seem like something that's going to be quite hard. But I think this council-led approach, you can have confidence that it's going to be done well, and you're going to have a supported approach that's going to make things really, really easy for you as a school. And then in terms of the technology, before I lead on to Alex, I think it'd be worthwhile to say what that really looks like for your school in real terms. So in terms of the technology that we're going to show you today and the technology that Isle of Anglesey have chosen, so you can trust that it's going to be a very secure solution. So it's built with security and safeguarding in mind. Fournet, or the company who I work for behind Connecting Wales, we deliver solutions to central government, private sector, public sector. So you can imagine the legislation and how rigorous we really need to be around our security standards, and everything that we do is delivered in exactly the same way. So you can trust that it's going to be a really secure solution. Also, the solution that they've chosen is really scalable. So whether you're a primary school, a large secondary school, it can grow with your needs. And I'm also thinking if you're a trust, for instance, and you're bringing in new schools, maybe you're separating, for instance, as you grow and as your needs change, it's really easy to make them changes without having a whole new system or having to totally change your approach. And also, which I think is really important for the public sector, is cost effective. So it's predictable, it's going to be budget friendly, and the council have already worked with us to ensure that you have the best rates possible. And that's one of the main things that we do in Connecting Wales. We want to deliver the most value possible at the most cost effective way we can to deliver great solutions essentially to Wales. And that's everything the framework is about. And then lastly, really, you're going to have a feature-rich system. So everything I talked about before, you need something that's really going to be school-focused. Alex will go through this in a bit of detail after me, but you need things as call routing, etc., etc. But you need something that's really simple for the school staff to use. And that's something that you can depend on with the solution that they've chosen. And there's not going to be any technical expertise required. But I think, again, the main thing here is I think the best thing out of all of this is supported by the council and by us. So it's going to be managed and maintained and monitored by the council and by us. So you can get that continuity of service. If anything goes wrong, you have a trusted local partner you can depend on. And in short, it's just going to make this such an easier process. It's going to remove all the headache that you would have otherwise might have had, and you can be rest assured that when the switch off does come to happen, that you have a telephony solution, a partner, and the council that can really deliver something that's going to do the job for your school community. So yeah, that's my bit really. What I wanted to do. Thanks for staying with us and listening to kind of what that looks like. But I think it's really important now, really, to show the technology in action. But please, if you have any questions throughout, just pop them in the chat. We'd be more than happy to answer them and explain things or go a little bit deeper. So at this point, I'll hand over to Alex to go through the technical piece.
Thanks, Joe. I'm a technical solutions architect at 4net, so I work with people like Joe and Anglesey Council to come up with technical solutions and to deliver the solution that we're talking about here. Just going to quickly share my screen. Would be the right one. There we go. Share. Hopefully everyone can see my PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, all good.
Brilliant. So what I'm just going to quickly talk about is a little bit more detail in terms of what Joe's been over in terms of the solution that we offer and what that would look like for yourselves going forward. So the core solution that we're looking to provide here, or we provide here with the council, is based on 4net UC3 product. Now, what is UC3? It's basically a cloud telephony environment. It's hosted entirely by 4net in our own data centers. It's hosted on a solution called Agile Cloud, which is a high available, highly secure hosted environment, which provides services for a very wide variety of customers. So public sector and private sector as well. And over the last sort of 2 or 3 years, we've been developing a product called UC3, which is intended to be what we call a multi-tenanted telephony solution. So idea being that we have a solution that we sell to our customers where they can have their own individual personalized solution hosted on a larger system with the attendant cost benefits that come with that. So yeah, that's what it will be based on. The solution uses something called SIP to provide your voice connectivity, so your calls and things like that. You may have heard of the technology, and that is the prime technology that's replacing the PSTN, ISDN, the old school technologies. And yeah, so the SIP connectivity is provided into our data center, and then you connect to that via your existing internet connection and consume your voice service via that. So there's no need for equipment on site, anything or any special connections or anything like that. So the intention is that if you've got an old existing on-site PBX, or whether you're consuming another sort of cloud service, or larger service, we can provide a personalized solution that will cover all your needs with that, with UC3. Mentioned a minute ago around custom configuration. So UC3 is, as I said, is multi-tenanted. So basically, each school will have what we call a domain, which is effectively your individual phone system. It's separated from other schools, so no one can interfere with each other. And it has the other advantage of that you can actually make your own sort of basic configuration changes to it. So if you want to change, greeting messages, that type of thing, opening, closing hours, that type of stuff, you can do that without affecting anybody else, any else's environment. So that's a custom configuration points, and I'll lead on to some migration stuff in a minute, but that will be built for you, by us and by Anglesey Council. Migration wise, I'm going to cover a little bit more in a minute, but the intention with the migration is to make it as simple as possible, as clean as possible, and entirely defined around your requirements in terms of dates, times, and what actually gets configured. So intention being that everything is as painless as possible, basically. Endpoints I will come on to in a second, but basically there are a number of endpoints that we offer. There are a couple that we advise that you use, just to make the option simpler. But the actual requirements will be discussed, at the point of the solution design for you. So we offer various handsets and also support for analog devices. So if you've got legacy fax machines, that type of thing, if anybody still uses them, some people do. We can support that as well. So that's it's very flexible in terms of what you connect to it. Self-management I've already touched on a little bit. So it's entirely web-based, and you can do as much as little as you want. So the council can support you and manage manage the solution entirely, or the scope for local configuration changes, as I mentioned. With regards to support, the council provides the main support with 4net providing a backstop. So if there's issues down the line, etc., then we'll obviously support you in that as well. And also because the solution is multi-tenanted, you'll get individual billing information as well. So in terms of your call cost and utilization and stuff like that. So that's something that you'll get. You won't have to sort of deal with telcos or anything like that. It's something that we provide as part of the service. Final bit on this slide was utilising existing infrastructure. So I mentioned that the solutions provided over the internet, over your existing internet connection. It will also utilise your existing network, with a few caveats in terms of connectivity, which would be covered at the solution design stage. But the intention is basically that the phones will be plugged in where computers are currently, or you need a data socket effectively for the IP phones. They require power over Ethernet, it's called. So they don't require local power unless you haven't got PoE. But again, that would be something that would be discussed at the point of the solution design. You can power the phones externally as well if required. There is also the soft phone option as well. So you can use a web-based soft phone, if you want people to use computer-based telephony effectively. A few more details on the handsets available. So these are what we would recommend: the Link T31G and the T48U. T31G, classrooms primarily, or common areas. It's a decent rugged handset, but is not massively feature rich, and is obviously a lower price point. The T48U is intended for better sort of reception. It's got up to 16 lines and things like that, so reception functionality is required. But there are other options available. If those phones don't fit your requirements, that can be changed up the line. Because our manufacturers support it as well. So it's a point that's available. As I said, there's also the soft phone if that's required. So what I'm going to talk about next briefly, before I actually show you the solution, is actually how we do the migration for you. So 3 stages. Joe's already touched on this, but I'm going to call them something slightly different. So design, build, and deploy. So for each one of these deployments, we would follow these 3 main steps. Probably the biggest thing that needs to be covered as part of this would be your numbers. So who owns them, where they are, and also just arranging for them to be ported. That is often the most painful part of any telephony migration. So we aim to do that, to do that for you effectively. So we gather the list of numbers, find out where they're hosted, and then arrange for the migration to take place. So migration times and dates would be decided by yourselves. You can decide whether you want to do it out of hours, in hours, or particularly holiday periods or anything like that where you want it to take place. Endpoints. So we discuss what you currently have endpoint wise. So where you've got phones, what type of phones they are, what type of functionality you want on those phones going forward. you don't have to have, for example, dial-out access. You can have internal calling only. There's a number of levels of what we call class of restrictions. So, internal, national, international, etc., which can be applied, as required. During the design phase, we'd also look at your network. So basically just talking about whether you've got power over Ethernet or not, where you've got your data points, that type of thing. You need to get that bottomed out, obviously, before we can move forward with the solution. And then obviously configuration of the current system, as I mentioned. So how your current system looks and how you want your final system to look effectively. So that would be discussed and documented at the point of at that point of the project.
And I think the important thing to point out here as well is this is all going to be supported by us as well as Anglesey. So our aim is to make this as easy as possible. So this isn't something you'd have to do by yourselves. This is obviously something that we will help you through every step of the way. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, these are all sort of, this is the process that will be involved. And yes, as Joe said, it'll entirely be supported by the council and by ourselves. Build. So we'd go away and basically build the solution. So as I mentioned before, everybody has their own domain, which is their own little phone system tenant. Build that and configure it out based on the design. And then following on from that, you've got deployment. So I already touched on the numbers piece. That's going to be probably the defining point of when you go live, when you put your numbers, because that's the point when your system transitions to live effectively. So yeah, and then you've got sort of the deployment of your endpoints. So that would be done, sort of by the council, to get your phones on site and tested prior to go live. And then any training required. So in terms of actually use of the handsets, use of the soft phone, and sort of use of the back end as well for the basic admin functions too. So there's not a huge amount of training that's done in house. But yeah, so those are basically the processes, and then following on from that, in live, and when you're live, obviously we've got the support as well, which will be ongoing, to make sure there's no issues with the solution going forward. So just going to give you an example before I go into the actual demo as well. As Bill's just said in the comments, please ask me questions. Joe, I haven't actually got because my display, I haven't actually got visibility of the questions, so please just stop me if people do have any.
Yeah, no worries.
So yeah, I've just sort of created an example, sort of idea of what the migration for school I've sort of made up would be. So, I mean, this is the information that one would we would collect. So we defined that they've got 40 numbers. You've got one receptionist, so one high end handset T48, one auto attendant. Hopefully everybody's familiar with what auto attendant is. I'll just go over it quickly. It's basically the press 1, press 2, etc. menus that a lot of people have, a lot of schools have in terms of sort of 1 for reception, 2 for absence, that type of thing. The solutions obviously support that out of the box, so if that's a requirement, we would just document that as part of the design process. They wanted a staff absence mailbox, no hunt groups, 1 pickup group, so effectively if another phone is ringing in the group, you can pick up the call on it. No analog devices, so no fax machines, no modems, which is nice because it removes an aspect of complexity. And then the handset types endpoint types they decided on. So build process here, so pretty straightforward. Create the domain, build the configuration, hunt group, pickup group, and that type of work. And as I said earlier on, port the numbers, to deploy the handsets, test, and staff training is required. So that's a good sort of it gives you an idea of exactly what we'd be looking at in terms of sort of the solution deployment. What I'm going to do now, since I haven't seen any questions, is just quickly go over, just show you a few aspects of the software, of what it looks like, and just briefly talk through that. So I'm just going to close that. Hopefully everybody can see my web browser. Leslie, is that all right, Joe? Can you see that?
Yeah, it's all good.
Just checking, brilliant. Just checking PowerPoint hadn't filled up the screen. So what we got here, so this is the Agile 3 UC3 domain for our, this is on our demonstration environment, which is why there's no call stats really at the minute. But this is what it looks like. So this is your main landing page. Gives you details of your active calls. You can check in terms of call stats, call volume, total minutes used, that type of thing. Unfortunately, this particular tenant hasn't actually got the activity on it at the moment, so that's a bit. But it gives you an idea of what that would do. Over here, this just gives a summary and a number of users, number of devices, that type of thing. Users. So this is where you'd manage your users. During the build process, we'd add, in the list of required users. So point to notice that not every phone requires a user. You only have users if you want them to have a mailbox or if they're going to use the soft phone or that type of thing. Handsets in classrooms don't necessarily require a user. So details here, but you can configure the user options in here. Answering rules, voicemail, etc. Users don't have to have voicemail, but they, you can switch it on and off here. So obviously, common area handsets typically wouldn't have voicemail on them. But, anybody needs a mailbox. You can also have mailboxes that aren't necessarily assigned to a phone. So for example, I mentioned the your staff absence mailbox, for example, that just delivers, and you can pick up the messages from here. Just going to cover auto attendance quickly as well. So up here, this one's got we call it an IVR, but it's the same thing. So this is an area where you can manage your things like your opening hours and the options that are on your auto attendance and what the greetings are. So you see we've got this one. You've got a main greeting. Thanks for calling the school. This is actually text to speech. So you can type in what you want your greeting to say. You can also, if you want to get someone to voice act or whatever, you can upload a file to play back as a greeting as well if that's what you prefer, or you can record it on a phone handset. So for example, if you had an emergency, you need to change your main prompt, say was shut or something like that, you can drop onto a phone, call me at the extension number, call, and then record your greeting. So it's very straightforward to change things in a hurry if you need to, or you can do it by text to speech and have it read to you. That's whatever's the easiest way to do it, really. But main point being that these are simple self-managed, and you wouldn't necessarily have to involve the service desk at the council or anything to make these changes. This particular auto attendant is pretty. Sorry, go on.
Alex, we have a question saying, is that available in Welsh?
Is it available in Welsh?
So I think how we would usually handle this, and Anglesey would probably be able to support us in furthering these conversations. But we would usually record the messages in Welsh. For instance, your school would, if you have a Welsh speaker, you would essentially record the message in Welsh and then be able to put that on as your voicemail. That's usually how we handle it. But what I'll do off the back of this webinar, I'll check as to whether you can do the text to speech in Welsh as well. That's something we probably need to take away.
Yeah.
That's okay. Katie just confirmed now that's what we've done for schools who are live and use recorded messages. Perfect.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. No, that's exactly what I was going to say. You're better off doing recorded messages, because I don't think the text to speech supports Welsh, but I will find out. So yeah, auto attendant wise, you've got a number of options you can configure on here. So I don't want to cancel that. So basically, you can have a voicemail box. You can play a message and hang up. You can transfer it to another phone, or you can send it to a user, depending on how you want to do it. So the design of this would be defined at the sort of the design stage, as I mentioned. But as I've said, it's very easy to change. So if you wanted to, for example, this one's got a greeting about sports day, for example. We want to change that to something different. So say you want to send it to a voicemail box. You just need to know the extension you want to send it to. Say, for example, I want to send it to staff absence. Do that. And now option 5 is going to be the staff absence line. So very easy to change, very easy to manage. You can just do that sort of straight away out of the box, really. I'm just going to cancel off that, but that's there once it's saved. A few other bits to point out in here. Call queues. So call queue functions a little bit like, well, basically it allows you to queue up calls. So if you had multiple people that you want to be able to take calls, so if reception gets really busy in the morning or something like that, and you want it to overflow somewhere else, you can configure that here. We just need to know what call flow you require, in order to do that. Time frames allow you to define opening hours, so you can actually set, to your 9 to 5, that type of thing. So when you're actually open and shut, you then apply that to your auto attendant, so you can play a closed greeting, when you're out of hours, or that type of thing, or indeed have a separate auto attendant that just allows access to your absence line, that type of thing. These points we would all go through with you at in the design phase anyway. Just have you thought of X, Y, that type of thing. So, but the solution obviously supports it. That's what I wanted to just go over. Music on hold. Solution comes with a couple of sort of Muzak files that you can use for music on hold out of the box. But it's possible to upload custom files as well. So if there's specific ones. One thing just to note is that they need to be licensed, so you can't just sort of grab random files and put them on there. It has to be licensed music. Most people use the default one, to be honest, but it's just to highlight a possibility, really. Call history, not a very good example because I haven't actually got any call history to show. Let me just jump onto another domain, and that actually does have a bit of information on it that's actually been used. This is our Fornet sandbox domain. So you can see down here there's there are actually I have actually put some calls through this one, so there's a bit of activity there to see. But the call history up here is basically this gives you a show of call history. If the calls are being recorded, which is optional again, whether you switch that on or not, you can play them back from here. You can view call history and information effectively via this. So, and as I said, this is specific to your tenant. You won't see other schools' information. This is yours only, and could be useful for just checking problems with calls or anything like that, or issues of that nature. So, yeah. Any questions or no?
I think we're all good. Yeah.
Right, brilliant. Okay. So what I'm just going to show now is just the soft phone as well. So hopefully everybody can see this. This is the Agile EC3 web soft phone. Supports the standard browsers, Edge, Firefox, Chrome. We recommend using Edge Chromium or Chrome, to be honest, but that will depend on, obviously, everybody has their own sort of security and browser preferences for that. It uses doesn't use any plugins. It just basically requests access to your sound and microphone when you first log onto it. You grant that access, and then it works through your computer, your microphone and speakers. Nothing to configure, no plugins to install, or security requirements around that. So you see, I've got I've got my extension here. The client actually allows you to do video calling with supported devices, so between other soft phone clients, or if you happen to have a video phone like the Telephony at you or something like that, you can do video calls as well. You can also do chat as well. You chat with other people. It's a very old there, but you can basically instant message each other via this client as well. Contacts each. Sorry, I've just seen your question, Katie. So it can be available as a mobile phone app, yes. I need to check as to what we offer as standard with the council, Joe, as to whether that's something that we roll out as standard. It is available, and you can use it on mobile phone handsets. Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely something we could look at if anybody did want to potentially look at that.
Yeah. And then that would use your mobile phone data as well. So, you know, you wouldn't use your mobile phone number, etc. Yeah, it's something that you can use around. The contacts is basically just gives you a list of users that are in your organization. So you can also put in contact cards as well. So for phones that don't have users, you know, classrooms, for example, that type of thing. So if you wanted a particular classroom number, you could put that in here as well. So yeah, and with this you can click to call. So you can see I've got options for video. Yeah, I could chat with Darren if I wanted to on here, or I could voice call him. I'm not going to voice call him because I don't think he's there. But yeah, well, I will just quickly. Yeah, so if I was going to do that, I'll hang up on him. But yeah, you just click to call to do that. Call history. So you see, I've been doing some test calls and things like that previously on here. So you can look at that, and you can click. I could click to call back to my mobile or whatever you wanted to do, and you can also create personal contacts as well. So I could create a new contact for me in there if I wanted to, and that's specific to my user. That's not specific to the general directory on the system. Voicemail. You can listen to your voicemail messages in here. As you see, I've got one that I've never bothered to listen to here. It's a very long one, so yeah, you can listen to your voice messages here, or you can actually call the voicemail service. You know, so you can, for example, edit your voicemail greeting and all that type of stuff. You know, to clear out your mailbox and however you want to do. Voicemails are typically saved for 12 months and then are removed unless you save them. It's just basically for storage requirements. So if you want to keep voicemails longer than that, you need to save them in here. As shows the chat and SMS, it's IM as well. Call parks, answering rules. You can set answering rules. So, for example, you could set devices. If you had a soft phone and a desk phone, you could decide you wanted calls to ring on a desk phone at certain times, for example. Settings on there, and you can edit your voicemail greetings as well, you know, with text to speech here if you want to. In terms of making calls, as I said, we've obviously got the contacts up there in the corporate directory. Keypad here. So if I wanted to, for example, dial my mobile phone, I can do that. To call in now. So you've got call options on here. Just waiting for that to ring. Here we go. So I'm now in a call. I've got the standard options here for you know, I can put call on mute, I can put call on hold. I've got my I can bring up the keypad again. You know, I can transfer if I want to transfer it to someone else, either from contact or dial the number that you want to send it to. If because I've got a soft phone and a desk phone, I could also switch phones, so I could move the call to a desk phone. Don't know why you want to hide call, or because my calling is not auto-enabled, I need to start recording. That's a setting that would be set. You can set per user whether it records automatically or whether you have to force it to, which is based on your preferences really. I'm just going to hang that up now. So yeah, that's the client really. So we've got the other thing we've got. I went to the analytics. So yeah, that's basically the end of the demo. Can the call be transferred to, say, a member of staff off-site on the mobile? Yes, it can. So you just dial the number and press transfer. So I'll just get it. So when you press the transfer button, I'll just put a call back in and show you. It's going to be easiest. No, not call center, call streets I want. So let me just hit to call out on my mobile, just because I'm being lazy. Go. So say if I want to transfer it, dial a new number, and if I want to send it to, yep, I can then, I'm going to, you've got the option to blind transfer. I'm transferring it to my work number there, so I'll do a blind transfer. Transfer complete, call's gone. So yes, in short, you've got the option to transfer. You can transfer to contact or to a dial number. Can be outside the organisation, can be inside the organisation. Right. That was pretty much all I had to cover at this particular point. Does anyone have any questions they want to ask? Over and above what we've had so far. In which case, I'll hand back to Joe. But thanks for your time.
Oh, thanks, Alex. That was great. Yeah, thank you for obviously spending the time with us, guys. Questions we've had before have been about the functionality of handsets. Oh, the question for you, Alex. Kitty asked, questions we've had before have been around the functionality of the handset. So what's the functionality of the handsets that we're currently proposing?
Okay, so let me just re-share. I'm going to share my screen again and put the slide back up. So 1 second. Let me re-share that. Yep, there we go. And go presentation. Here we are. Hopefully we can see that. So yeah, functionality wise, as I said, the T31 is a basic handset. You've got a mono display. It supports up to 2 lines. And you can also obviously daisy chain computers to it as well. You see it's got 2 1 gig ports. So what that's referring to are network ports connected, in the back of the phone. So if you've only got one socket to plug a computer into, you could plug the phone in and then the computer into the phone. In terms of the functionality that the phones offer themselves, you've got basically very similar gimmick to what we have on the soft client. So you can transfer, you can hold. You can conference up to 10 devices in one go. So ad hoc conferencing. You've also got things like do not disturb, so you can disable the so a ring. You can also you've also got speakerphone as well, so you can talk without having to raise the handset. In terms of the T48, better device, supports up to 16 lines, color screen. The 16 lines would be useful for people with things like reception. You want fast dials, things like that, where you can call up people that you transfer to regularly and transfer calls to them. Both phones offer the obviously a directory as well, so you can dial by directory. The T48 offers some other clever stuff. You can drop the line, the team integration, that type of thing. But that's a bit about out of scope to what we're talking about at the moment. Yeah, so hopefully that answers. Is there any specifics you're interested in terms of the functionality, or hopefully that answers the question?
All good. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Good.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, thank you very much for spending your time this afternoon to listen to this. I just want to say that we're really dedicated alongside Isle of Arran's Council to support you as much as possible in this process. So I think my contact details and Alex's have been put in the chat. Feel free to drop me an email if any questions do come up. And I think really the next step, I think Isle of Anglesey and the team and Harrod and Katie, etc., are going to be sending out a letter to the schools, I believe, to then say whether you want to opt in. We can follow up with the information around that afterwards. But honestly, I think this is a really good approach to doing this. Working across a range of councils now, seeing this approach, I think it's really effective. And yeah, we're really look forward to working with you and helping you move forward. But yeah, thank you for joining today. Thank you.